If you're considering moving to Redding, California, it can be really overwhelming to figure out the neighborhoods, the grocery stores, the restaurants, the common attractions, and where everything is. Well, today I'm excited to share with you a map tour of our area and things you should consider from the west side to the east side, or even maybe central Redding. Now, there's a lot to cover, but we'll give you the top 3 to 4 neighborhoods that you should consider, especially if you're coming over here. My name is Faith Barrett. This is Rooted in Redding, your local guide to everything Redding. So if you're new here, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get started on this grand tour. All right, so we're gonna start this map tour with showing you how it's divided by the I-5 and 299, which kind of cuts into 44. So 299 and 44 kind of cut across, and then the I-5 splits Redding from the west side to the east side. We're gonna go through some neighborhoods that you should be aware of that might pique your interest if you're considering moving here, but this really is our definition of what is the west side versus the east side in terms of the freeway dividing it. Let's erase this real quick. Now, moving in, we're gonna start basically on the west side because I really think that offers you a little bit of a higher end price point, especially if luxury is important to you. There's a lot of great neighborhoods. So up here at the top, this is basically the northwest side of Redding. Some neighborhoods that might be of interest to you. So over here above the Sacramento River, we have basically Land Park and Stanford Hills. Stanford Hills is one of our more prestigious gated communities. It is an HOA. We have properties anywhere between, 850 to well over $1 million. This was an area that was impacted by the car fire a little bit, and we did have a lot of homes that were lost, but a lot of homes that were rebuilt. And essentially, with this luxury neighborhood and being HOA, a lot of people like the gated community. It does have a pretty great access to downtown Redding. So from, basically from the neighborhood, cutting down, you can catch downtown probably within like 5 to 7 minutes to local grocery stores like Holiday Market, the surrounding, Sundial Bridge connecting to Turtle Bay. So a lot of people like that you're a little bit on the outside of the downtown Redding, but you still have the luxury amenities. Now, if HOA isn't really your thing, Land Park is another option, and this is a non-HOA area. A lot of these home prices can range anywhere between the mid 500s all the way up to 700-800s plus, depending on if it has a pool, if it has views, if it's upgraded. These are kind of a lot of the neighborhoods we see doctors residing in because, again, it's a little bit outside downtown Redding, but for some people that might be a medical profession, to get to, Mercy Medical Center, you can catch downtown, and then over here is basically where Mercy Medical Center is. Again, both areas offer really close commute to common amenities, grocery stores, Turtle Bay, Sundial. But what's really cool about the west side, and we talked about it a lot in previous videos, is over here is the Keswick Dam area. And what a lot of people like when they live in the west side is all the connection to bike trails. And so right out of Land Park, we have all these bike trails that you can connect to. You can catch down, come down where there is like bike trails along the Sacramento River, and it kind of then bleeds into downtown Redding as well. So if you have a really active lifestyle, you're really gonna like living on the west side, and these are some of our more prestigious luxury neighborhoods. Now, for those of you who, in essence, I'm gonna kind of erase this. We'll start down over here. Now, for those coming out of this area, again, there's so many neighborhoods to kind of highlight on. These are a bit of more of our popular ones. One area that I kind of see a lot of people really wanting to be in is Lake Redding. Now, Lake Redding has a really great mix. Now, you can be along, I'll zoom in a little bit, you can be along the river and have kind of river views, and those obviously are going to be more luxury properties, or you can be kind of in the heart of Lake Redding, and you can find homes anywhere between sometimes $350 all the way to $500, mid 500 range. This area was also really affected by the car fire, so we've seen a lot of new listings come up that are new construction, redeveloped, And then there's also older homes that allow people to be on the west side of Reading at a more entry-level price point. Our median list price is about $389 in Reading, so anywhere in here that you can find a house for $350, $375, probably has a little bit more upgrades that need to be done, like flooring, improved kitchens, stuff like that. But a lot of people like it because, again, out of here you can kind of see there's all these trails that connect to bike trails along the Sacramento River, and for a lot of people it's an even quicker commute to downtown Reading, where there's gyms. UPrep, we've talked about different school districts. UPrep is over here on the west side of Reading, as well as Shasta High School, and then just kind of like the common amenities with grocery stores, etc., that make life just easy for people. All right, so coming down from here, you can obviously see that 299 and 44 cut across, and this really helps divide, obviously northwest, southwest, to really help give us a really defined border. Now, if you're somebody who really loves charm, character, you're not really that new construction, 2000 plus, year built home, and you're really more of that like 1950s, 1960s charm, character, you're really going to love this area right here. There's two areas that I'll highlight. One we personally actually invest in, and we have a few houses in it. That's going to be the Garden Track area. And then the other one that a lot of people really love is Magnolia. Now, between these two neighborhoods, I kind of say they're like sister neighborhoods. Garden Track is really established. There's certain streets that people kind of, fight to be in, specifically like Verda. These are kind of an improved area that a lot of people have kind of been raising the prices of. When we first got into it about 5 or 6 years ago, the houses weren't anything like crazy updated, but it had that charm and character. And for like a 3-1, 1,000 square feet or so, we purchased ours for about $190. Now, fast forward to where we are now with the market and the appreciation and what people see the value of the Garden Track, you can roughly estimate that a 3-1, about 1,000 square feet, is anywhere between the low 300s to maybe the mid 300s, depending on how upgraded it is. So this is kind of the Garden Track. There's a little bit of a sister neighborhood right here, which is Kucher's Track, but a lot of people who are looking for that, starter home or that charm and character really like Garden Track as an entry-level price point. For those of you that, again, medical, profession, maybe you're a doctor, you're a resident moving to our area, which we do get that a lot. This is a prime area because over here is actually where Shasta Community Health Center is. So we get a lot of residents who will live in the Garden Track and then commute to work at Shasta Medical Center for their job. Now, coming over to Magnolia neighborhood, I say Magnolia neighborhood is a little bit more of like the sister neighborhood to Garden Track. You're going to see a lot more of inventory pop in the Garden Track. There's not a lot of movement that comes in the Magnolia. That being Magnolia neighborhood, you're going to see those larger homes, maybe 15 to sometimes 2,300 square foot homes. This really actually kind of cuts across over here. My circle is a little bit off, but there's not a lot of inventory that comes up in here because people literally have been there for 30 plus years, love the charm, love the stories, love all the history of it, and don't really want to sell until they really have to. So I will say this is a little bit of a harder neighborhood to get into, but is equally a really nice neighborhood. Now, from Magnolia, just based on kind of location of where we're at, we have a lot of things to offer. We do have UPrep school nearby. That's basically, over here. Pause, I'm actually directionally challenged. Where is UPrep? Pioneer. Oh, it's right across the street. Just kidding. Okay. So from Magnolia neighborhood, we actually have UPrep school over here, and then there's also Shasta High. So you're very close to some really prestigious school education systems that we have in our area. UPrep is the #1 high school in our area. They service 6th through 12th grade, and then Shasta High is relatively the second rated school here for high school. But it really is just a really centralized neighborhood, again, like Garden Track, that gives you just easy commute to downtown. Now, coming over, as I'll highlight just a few more neighborhoods that you should be aware of. Again, this kind of bleeds a little bit back into the northwest side, but we definitely cannot skip this neighborhood. This is probably one of my favorite personal neighborhoods in the west side Reading, and that is Sunset West and Sunset Terrace. Now, Again, similar to Magnolia, this is a little bit of a harder neighborhood to get into just because a lot of these homes are original. They have that mid-century modern vibe, just incredible neighborhood, lots of family oriented, or retirees. It's just a well-balanced neighborhood. You can see homes anywhere on the outskirts. If you're kind of more on the outskirts over here, you can see homes sometimes ranging from like the mid 400s all the way up to 800 plus, depending if you're more on like the riverside, that gives you more of that luxury vibe. But again, this is a little bit of a more well-established neighborhood that everybody tries to fight to be in. It's pretty much guaranteed that if something comes up and it's priced, pretty well, it will go relatively really quickly based on the fact that people just want to be in Sunset West and Sunset Terrace. Now, based on this, again, being on the west side, you have so much access to the nature, the trails, everything to connect you to the outdoors. And right out here connects you to the river trail that gets you on the bike trail, to Keswick Dam, to all the surrounding areas that really, just makes life a little bit different. Oh, my mouse has gone a little crazy, so here we go. So that's Sunset West and Sunset Terrace. Now, if you're somebody who's like, okay, Faith, charm is, not really my cup of tea. I would just rather just be all new construction. That's kind of where I live. You're going to be kind of hitting a little bit, or newer construction, I should say. You're going to be kind of hitting a little bit more of this area over here, which is Salt Creek. There is one more subdivision that I'll share as we get down to more of the southwest side of Redding, but Salt Creek was developed by Palomar Construction. They're not really as involved in our community. He kind of retired, and now there's a new developer kind of overtaking, which is D.R. Horton. And we still have developers building out the west side, but this was probably one of our largest new construction subdivisions that happened on the west side that really gave a stamp to say, hey, if you want to be downtown, be close to all the, local hospitals, as well as the downtown amenities, etc., this is where you're going to find your new construction home. So Salt Creek Heights, you're going to see, if you're not, again, on a view side, you're going to see anywhere between 550 all the way to about 700,000. If it has a pool, it might squeak over a little bit more than that, but these are brand new construction homes, only a couple years old. And it's been a really great development for a lot of people that, again, don't really want the charm, but they would prefer to have something new construction. Being on the west side of Redding, like I said, with having access to the downtown amenities, great school districts like UPrep, Shasta High, and the nature with bike trails literally right out your front door, there is another huge advantage that a lot of people love, and that is the quick, easy access to Whiskeytown Lake. Now, Redding, California has two lakes, Whiskeytown Lake and Shasta Lake. Now, the difference really is that Whiskeytown Lake obviously is a smaller lake, but it's more of your beach lake, your place that you go hang out, sunbathe, maybe swim. You can also have like your jet boat out there, but if you're looking for that houseboat experience, you're going to find that on Shasta Lake, as well as if you want to jet ski, that's also going to be out on Shasta Lake. It definitely is less of your beachy vibe on Shasta Lake, but some people like to have both options. With living on the west side, however, from basically downtown, you are 6 miles from Whiskeytown Lake, and it has all kinds of different accesses to fishing spots, boat launches. So it really creates this awesome opportunity to, have your boat, go launch at Whiskeytown and be within maybe 10 minutes of the lake. As we kind of move down, I'll erase this. Erase. Okay, so as we move down, we've talked a lot about different neighborhoods, from new construction to upper neighborhoods. I'm going to move down a little bit to a few areas that you should be also familiar with. So we are still down on the west side of Redding. We have obviously the Sacramento that runs through Redding. Now, for those of you that shopping center is really important, I'll kind of highlight a few areas that has really kind of drawn more attention to people considering moving to this part of the area, and that is Costco. So Costco basically over here is this area right here. Costco moved, and so it's been a huge development sitting right here. So we have Save Mart, we have Costco with a gas station, which is a big deal, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, and there's more developments coming that is really just pushing a lot of people to reconsider living down here based on the development and growth of it. As this develops out, I don't know the exact time frame, but as this develops out, this is going to be where the new Wind River Casino is moving to, and where they're going to be breaking ground, which has been huge news in our area, especially as that has been on the radar of how they're going to be able to develop that out for many, many years. So as we're here, you have Wind River over here coming soon, and then you have the Costco already built out. This over here has kind of been a little bit of an area that I would say has been forgotten by many, just because it's kind of more of like the southwest side. There wasn't a lot of development, so there wasn't really a lot of reason for people to move down there. And so because of that, sorry, my thing moved in. So because of that, you know, just a lot of people didn't really consider it. However, over the last couple of years, I definitely have noticed people reconsidering what we say Southwest Reading. Now this is kind of encasing a little bit of multiple subdivisions in one, but everybody calls it the Gervan subdivision. And with that, you have properties on Riverside Drive that, you know, ultimately have river access right out their back door. Those are obviously going to be well over $1 million properties. And then you have a little bit more of that median income price point that we're at, which is around that $389 price point. And so a lot of people were moving down to this area, one, for the sake of having an affordable new construction option, and two, being closer to Costco and the new up and coming development. Now there's a lot of mix of older neighborhoods to, you know, a good family entry level home, meaning, you know, 17 to 1800 square feet, maybe it's around 400,000, 425. And then, like I said, you can have a little bit of the strip of Riverside being more, you know, the $1 million properties of river access right out your back door. Now, as I said, being on the west side, there's lots of neighborhoods, and it's really hard to condense down which neighborhood to consider. The last two subdivision I definitely think that should be on your radar if you're thinking about living on the west side is Country Heights, which is basically right here, and Mary Lake. Now, the ways that these subdivisions kind of differ a little bit. Country Heights, coming into the neighborhood, you're going to have a little bit more, again, of that entry-level price point around, you know, maybe $375. And as you get further back into Country Heights subdivision, you're going to have higher end price points being, you know, upwards of $550 to $600, especially as the home, you know, right now I'm in escrow on one, specifically on Sunglow, and it's $560 with a pool, and it's almost about 18 to 1900 square feet. And so really, if the house has a pool, if it's larger in square footage, it's obviously going to push that price point up. Compared to Country Heights, I think that Mary Lake equally becomes a very competitive neighborhood as well to get into because of the lifestyle that it offers. We actually did a whole highlighted tour about Mary Lake a few weeks back on Rooted in Reading, where it just kind of talks about how this area has, you know, a man-made lake. There is, you know, opportunity for people to walk around and have walking trails, and it's just right outside your back door. What's great about Mary Lake also is that it's not HOA, so it just gives you the opportunity to have, you know, more of an entry level, a little bit of a higher entry level price, maybe around $389 to $415. And if you're looking for something specifically on the lake, it can be upwards of $500 plus. So that being the west side, again, there's lots of things to offer based on the active lifestyle, the you know, local amenities, being quick to downtown, or if being on the lake is really important to you, you have quick, easy access to Whiskey Town. Now we're going to jump over to the east side. Now, the east side, for a lot of people, they say it's slower pace, a little bit more of the countryside of Reading. You don't have the downtown hustle and bustle, and it just kind of gives a little bit of a place for people to breathe a little bit, but still be remotely close to downtown. I'm going to start out with some of my favorite neighborhoods on the northeast side. Now, specifically to note on the northeast side, you are going to have Simpson University. I know it says college, but it's Simpson University. And over here is basically where Shasta colleges. So you have both the community college and the university on the east side. So if you're a professor, student, this is kind of an area that you can see a lot of people hovering over to. So a couple of neighborhoods that you should be aware of, especially if you like the idea of being close to the university, is Hacienda Heights, Alder Creek, and the College Highlands. Now, this has been a really great neighborhood for a lot of people because your back door is literally Lima Ranch. Lima Ranch is owned by McConnell Foundation. It's basically a walking preserve, and it's this beautiful serene area that you can go access at any point, you know, during daylight hours to walk around, get some exercise, but, you know, not have to pay an HOA or anything like that to, you know, have access to it. Right above here, for those of you who might be considering moving to our area and wanting to retire, this is a gated elderly community, so it's 55 plus community. And this is a great neighborhood that also equally offers, you know, walking trails. As you can see, there's some man-made lakes, and it just kind of creates a serene environment, especially if you're looking to retire here in our area. As we come down, I'm gonna move my map down, erase this for y'all so you don't get too confused. Now, living on the east side, a very common road is called Shasta View. A lot of people kind of know, hey, is it off of Shasta View? How close is it to Shasta View? It's kind of the landmark of the east side. Now, around Shasta View, there's multiple neighborhoods that offer different things. Some are more entry-level price points, like $375 to $415, and a little bit higher, you might find more in Ravenwood Estates. This part over here, the Shasta View, Shasta Meadow subdivision, this is kind of a little bit more heavy with rentals and investments. You can kind of find an entry price point of like $289 to $315. And then as you come down a little bit, you're gonna come into a little bit more of the luxury area of Shasta View, Saratoga, Carriage Glen Estates, Western Oaks. And this is a really beautiful subdivision. We've sold quite a bit of homes here, and they're just larger estates, so anywhere between 3,000 to 3,500, sometimes to 2,800, and they just kind of offer a lot from just a very established neighborhood. Now around here, what makes all of this area so popular, as well as having Lima Ranch, as I kind of shared up here at your fingertips, you can drive here, it's literally maybe 5 minutes. Down here, for all these mini subdivisions that you see, they have the Clover Creek Preserve. Now this allows people, again, easy access to walking trails, preserves, and just a serene way to get outside, because like the west side has with easy access to bike trails, all that we have to offer with getting out into nature, the east side lacks a little bit, but it makes up for it in all these little preserves like Lima Ranch, Clover Creek Preserve, that just allows people to still be able to get outside but not have to go all the way to the west side to experience nature. All right, now, if you're like, okay, all this sounds great, Faith, maybe I am an east sider, maybe I'm a west sider, I'm not entirely sure. I will say for groceries and amenities, down here on the west side, we have basically Shasta View is right here, and in here is Holiday Market. Now, if you move to our area, Holiday Market is a local grocery store, and they have about, I want to say 3 to 4 locations, maybe 5, kind of surrounding our Shasta County area, and it's a very popular grocery store that we have here. So they are currently right here, and they are currently building a new kind of complex center with a larger grocery store. There's a Starbucks right here. There's a Quick Quack car wash, and there's just a lot that is getting developed right here that I think is just only going to make all of these prices and appreciation of homes, increase in value. Now, if you're somebody who wants to feel like they're in the country but still be in the city of Redding, this is probably one of my favorite areas to consider. Now, to give you some framework, this was kind of the area of where the new Costco was. So this is where Costco is. This is where all the development is. You're gonna have Churn Creek right here, and it's gonna cut into this road going down here. Now, this area here is a very popular neighborhood. We call this the bottom of Churn Creek. It has incredible water access with irrigated canals, so people can actually irrigate their pastures. It's more parcels, anywhere between 5 to 10 acres. Prices in here, because of the name and because of the popularity, can be anywhere between 6 to 8 to even well over $1 million based on the square footage of the house. Cutting down here from Churn Creek Bottom, we have it basically going all the way down here. It cuts across to Knighton Road, and this is where we connect to the Reading Airport. So if being on the east side to have quick access to the Reading Airport is important to you, well, then you're going to want to be on the east side of Reading. Now, as you can see, the east side has so many neighborhoods to offer, and they just kind of give you a little bit of variables from luxury to countryside to entry-level homes that just can maybe match and meet any requirement you might have. So before I kind of wrap up this map tour, because there's a couple other areas that I think you should definitely know based on the lifestyle that might be important to you. This area right here is basically what I would call Central Reading. Now in here, you're going to find Trader Joe's, Sprouts, Chick-fil-A, Home Goods, Mount Shasta Mall, Chipotle, different kind of food items, Target, and this really kind of creates a central place for people on the west side to the east side to find their amenities that they might need that obviously are really important to them. So moving from the east side central hub, I'm going to take you up to the northeast side and kind of end our tour here. Now, I will say, if golfing is your thing and you love to golf, you're going to want to pay attention to this. Right here is Gold Hills, and then up here is Tierra Oaks Estates. Now, up here on the northeast side, this is also a countryside for our area. I will say the fire area here is a little bit higher in terms of insurance cost, based on you being a little bit more rural. From about Tierra Heights to downtown Reading, you're anywhere between about 12 to 15 minutes, and some people can consider this commute a little bit too long. The difference that really comes in place with Tierra Heights versus Gold Hills, both have golf courses, both are great golf courses. Tierra Heights is a gated HOA community. You have houses ranging anywhere between 700 to well over $1 million plus. And in Gold Hills, you're going to find a little bit of an older neighborhood. It is not HOA, and you're going to find houses anywhere between, high fours to bleeding, to sevens and eights, depending on the size of the home. A lot of people, really don't want to be in an HOA. They'll stick to the Gold Hills, but if they want more of that luxury, prestigious, gated community vibe, but being on the east side still, they will stick to the Tierra Oaks estate subdivision. So as you can kind of see, if golf is important, these are going to be your two main neighborhoods to consider that the east side offers. And lastly, other areas to consider if country living is really your cup of tea and that's what you're going for, is Bear Mountain Road. So anything off of Bear Mountain Road is a way that I say that country living can be achieved, and there's a lot of variables to the price point. You might find large pieces of land, vacant lands, you might find mobile homes, you might find larger homes, like we just sold one that was almost 3,000 square feet for $700,000 on about 7 acres. You're just going to kind of find a variable in what you're looking for that could match what that country lifestyle is. Compared to the bottom of Churn Creek, like we talked about, to Bear Mountain, you're going to definitely feel a lot more rural. Fire insurance, like I said, is much higher over here. However, those that are really seeking that lifestyle but still want to be within Reading, Bear Mountain gives you an alternative option as well, especially if, Churn Creek Bottom is just not within your price point. Now, the one last thing to note, as we talked about in the very beginning with the different lakes, is Shasta Lake. Now, as we zoom out, we have Whiskey Town over here, which is on the west side, and then Shasta Lake is massive, and there's so much that Shasta Lake has to offer, from different boat launch. If you live over off of Bear Mountain, you can connect to the Jones Valley. If you're over towards more of the northwest side, there's Santa Mooney, that's closer into Shasta Lake, but there's just different options of getting to Shasta Lake just because it's so massive. Well, I hope that this guided tour has been helpful for you to see how much our area has to offer. I mean, if you look at Reading on a map, it might look a little bit small to you, but as you zoom in, we have tons of neighborhoods that offer so many different things, from luxury to living on a golf course, country, downtown, charm, you name it. And I'm very confident that if you consider to make Reading your next home, there is a neighborhood out there for you that can check those boxes. As always, thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Rooted in Reading, where we not only help you find a home, but a community to thrive in. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.